Good evening. Tonight we're going to start with lesson 32 with our fractions. I can subtract a fraction from a mixed number. Now guys, we're going to be using number lines. We're going to be using the arrow method, and also decomposing a number to help us subtract. So let's get started. Okay, this problem says subtract. We're going to model with a number line or the arrow way. All right, so guys, we can just see this and say 6 and 3/5 take away 1/5. Well, that means it's going to be 6 and 2/5. We could see that pretty easily by just looking at that problem. But we really need to understand how this looks, and we're going to use the number line to demonstrate that. So I'm going to create the number line. And where do I start? Well, lots of times we always started at 0, but in previous lessons. But we don't need to start at 0. We're just going to look at this whole number right here. And this whole number says we are at 6 and 3/5. So we can just start with using 5, and then jump to the next hole, which would be 6, and then the next hole, which would be 7. And we are breaking this up. We're jumping from this hole to this hole, and between this interval here, we're going to be breaking this up into fifths. And why? Because the denominator tells us that. So I'm going to be breaking this up into fifths. Okay, and we need to plot 6 and 3/5. So we've got 6 and 1/5, 6 and 2/5, and 6 and 3/5. So we're going to be plotting it right there. So right here is 6 and 3/5. But it tells us that we need to take away 1/5. So we're going to have to go down 1. And now we are at 6 and 2/5. So 6 and 3/5 take away 1/5 is 6 and 2/5. Now I know you're saying, Miss Mulbieta, I could have just done this myself and without a number line, but we want to understand how this looks to us in a visual way. All right, let's continue on to the next one. Subtract and model with a number line or the arrow way. So we have 7 and 1/4 take away 3/4. Now this is a little bit more harder than our previous one that we could just see that it was 6 and 2/5. But over here, we have a whole. This is a mixed number. We have a whole of 7 and 1/4. Now we can't take away, just looking at this, 3/4 from 1/4. So we would always have to decompose the number, this number right here. So we're going to use a number line to visualize this, how this is going to look. So we're going to create a number line. And our whole is at 7. So we could just start at, say, 6. And then we could say, whoops, I don't know why it does that. 7 and then up to 8. And we are going to be breaking up these intervals into fourths because that's what our denominator says. So I am going to break up this into fourths. And then we're going to place 7 and 1/4 on this number line. So 7 and 1/4 is just about right here. It's 7 and 1/4. And it tells us that we're going to subtract 3/4. So let's count down. 1, 2, 3. So we are now at 6 and 2/4. So this is equal to 6 and 2/4. But remember, anytime we have an answer, we always want to look to see if we can simplify it. How do we simplify 6 and 2/4? Well, we have to look for the greatest common factor that 2 and 4 share, and that would be 2. So we're going to divide the top and the bottom by 2, and we are left with 6 and 1/2. Which makes sense, because if you look over here, aren't we halfway between 6 and 7? We're in the halfway point. So 6 2/4 is equal to 6 1/2. Use decomposition to subtract the fractions. Model with a number line or the arrow way. So we're going to be breaking apart the number, the fraction 4/5. So then we can actually take away from that mixed number. So if we look at 4/5, we cut this up into 2/5, 2/5, and then I take this and this, and when we take, now because we're talking about subtraction now, when we did addition it looked a little differently. So now we're going to take that 2/5 away from this 2/5. So I'm going to take this 2/5 and this 2/5, and we're going to take them away, and they basically cancel each other out. So we are left with 2, and then this part right here, this guy, we're going to bring him down here and take away 2, and then another 2/5 would give us what? Well, think about what I would need to add to 2/5 in order to get to the next whole. Well, that would mean that we are left with 1 2/5 plus 3/5 gives us the next whole of, which would give us then 2. So this is 1 3/5. Now we might need to use a number line to help us also with this. So our number line, we're going to, since we're starting low with the 2, I'm going to start with a 1, 0, excuse me, and then a 1. And then end up with the 2 over here, okay? So what we're doing here is we're going to split it up into fifths because that's what our denominator says. So I'm going to split it up into fifths. And where is 2 and 2, we don't have 2 and 2/5. We ended up here at 2, and we're taking away 2/5. So here we go, we've got 1/5, 2/5. And now we are at 1 3/5. Okay, use decomposition to subtract the fractions and model with a number line or the arrow way. All right, so what we want to do is decompose 4/6. Now, when we decompose this number, this fraction, I did it again, this fraction, we want to make sure that when we break it apart, we have a 1/6 over here, because then we can easily take that 1/6 away from this 1/6, and then we left with 4. So don't decompose this like 2/6 plus 2/6, because then it makes us harder to subtract. We want to decompose this with 1/6 plus 3/6. All right, so let's try this. Let's take 4/6, and we have 1/6, and then on this side we're going to have 3/6, because 1/6 plus 3/6 is 4/6, right? And then we have this 1/6, and then we could just take that away from there. Just looking at that, that cancels each other out, because 1/6 take away 1/6 is just 4, and then you're left with 3/6. All right, so 4 take away 3/6. So what we need to do is think about, what can I add, to help us think about, to get to that whole, what can I add to this to get to a whole of 6/6? Well, it would mean that we would have 3/6, and we took away from that whole, so we're left with 3 3/6. But we never leave a fraction as an answer. We always first have to make sure if it's in simplest form, and this one is not. 3 and 6, the factor they share would be 3. All right, and we are left with 3 1/2. Well, how does that look like on a number line? Well, we are going to say, we can start with 3, then we go to 4, and we can go to 5. All right, and in between those intervals, we're splitting up into sixths, because that's what our denominator says. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we started off at 4 and 1/6. And we're taking away 4/6. So we have 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6. And we are left with 3 1/6, 2/6, so 3 and 3/6, which is really the halfway point between 3 and 4, which makes sense that it is 3 1/2. Use decomposition to subtract the fractions. Model with a number line or the arrowway. All right, so let's break up that 5/8. And when we break up that 5/8, we want to break it up so that I have a 1/8 here, and because I want to take away this 1/8 and that 1/8, just so I leave 10 by itself. So how do we break this up so we have a 1/8? Well, it would be 1/8 plus the 4/8. That would give us 5/8. So break up the 5/8 and you have 1/8 and you've got 4/8. So then that means we can take this and subtract it from each other, and you're left with just a 10, taking away 4/8. And when you do that, you are left with how much? Well, how do we get that whole? 4/8 plus 4/8 gives us 8/8, which would be a whole. So 4/8 plus 4/8 will give us a whole. So that means I would have 4/8, and because I took away that whole, we're left with 9 and 4/8. But we can't leave 4/8 as an answer, can we? No, because we have to simplify. And what is the greatest common factor that 4 and 8 share? Well, they both share the 4. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 4, and I'm left with 9 and 1/2. And if we wanted to create a number line to demonstrate this, we can do that. And I'm going to start with, I'll put an 8 here, a 9 here, and a 10. Okay, and we're going to split this up into 8s because that's what our denominator says. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's make 11 over here. Okay, so where is 10? Well, we have 10 right here. And we're taking away 4/8. So we've got 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8. So we are right here. So that is 9 and 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8. So right here is 9 and 4/8, which is really equal to, because we have to simplify, 9 1/2. Because this is the halfway point between 9 and 10. Okay, another one. Use decomposition to subtract the fractions and model with a number line or the arrowway. So I'm looking at 9 and 4/12, take away 7/12. Okay, so we're going to decompose 7/12. And remember, whatever the two fractions that we are adding together, one of them has got to be 4/12. So let's take this and put 4/12 here. And 4/12 plus what gives us 7/12? Well, that would be 3/12. So then now we can just subtract this side, and we're left with a 9. And then on the other side, we're going to subtract 9 and 3/12. All right, so what can we add to 3/12 to give us 12/12 with that next whole? And what we would have, since we're taking away that whole, we were left with 8 wholes. And 3/12 plus what gives us 12/12? Well, that would give us 9/12. 8 and 9/12. Now, remember, 9/12. Can we simplify that? Yes, we can. the factor they both share would be a 3. And when we divide top and the bottom by 3, we get 8 and 3/4. Well, how does that look like on a number line? Now, this one's going to be big because we're splitting it up into 12ths. So that's going to be a big one. So let's start with an 8 over here, a 9 in the middle, and a 10. And I'm going to cut this up into 12ths. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, just stopped it just to save some time. There's my number line. Now I'm going to find 9, and 9 is right here. And I'm going to take away 3/12 from that. So we've got 1/12, 2/12, 3/12. And where am I at? I'm right here. And this becomes 8 and 9. 8 and 9/12, which is really equal to, because we have to simplify, 8 and 3/4. Hard work leads to success. Interesting. I didn't know that. I just have fish for brains. I'm Mr. Fish Sticks. Maybe I should give this a try. Good advice, Mr. Fish Sticks. You should give this a try. Hard work does lead to success. All right, guys, subtract and then model it with a number line or an arrowway. And I want to see your work tomorrow. Subtract. Model with a number line or the arrowway. And of course, I'd like to see those number lines and arrowways tomorrow. Again, subtract and use those number lines and arrowways. And of course, I would like to see them tomorrow. Last problem for tonight. Subtract and model with a number line or an arrowway. And bring them in tomorrow. Path to success by trying. Wow, it seems like trying can get really messy, but I'm glad I did it. Have a great night. Good job trying and doing your best work.